So I was just having a little read there. I like to have a little read now and again. I was reading Marx's analysis of the nature of labour power as a commodity. I might have more to say about that later. I'm off now, of course, to sell my labour power as a commodity for a limited and definite period of time, which is to say, when the kitchen closes tonight and I've cleaned it down, I'm going home again. I am a free man, except I have to keep selling myself. I have no illusions about that one at all, my friends. I am, just like most of you, a wage slave. Anyway, let's get moving. It's just after 1 o'clock. I've allowed myself 2 hours to get to work. I've already had a very productive morning. I finished editing today's video, which is now up, by the way, at about 11:30. I've been in the bath and shaved my head and other bits. And yes, Murgatroyd, I did remember to rinse away the shavings. I don't always. Okay, so as you can see, it's off to work in the van today. It's a thoroughly wet and miserable day. If you find days like this miserable, I do not. I always know that above the clouds, the sun is out, the sky is blue. It doesn't matter that it's raining down here. So, whereas I would ordinarily be going up this hill at about 50 miles an hour, until I get to this point here where it says 30, of course, we don't condone speeding. No, not even slightly. I'm struggling to do 25 up the hill in this van. But there we go. It is what it is, and it isn't what it isn't. So I think this might be the first time in my YouTube adventure that I've actually filmed myself and spoken whilst I'm driving the van, so having to create a bit of a new headspace for that one. I'm sure it will become second nature, just as the talking into the microphone while I'm riding the motorcycle did. On which subject? I've spent some time today reflecting on my YouTube journey so far, and I was thinking back to the first clutch of films that I made, and indeed the Murgatroyd and I enjoy sometimes looking back on them and picking holes in them, saying, oh, I did that wrong, I did that wrong. When I started this journey, I had all the motivation but none of the skills that I needed. I set up the channel in, I believe, February. I think it was early April before my first video went up, because I had so much to learn. I had to get used to the new cameras. Despite a long background in photography, there was still so much new stuff to learn. The editing process was just essentially a closed door to me, and it was only because the Murgatroyd could help me out with the processing stuff on the laptop that I was even able to get one video up. All of the stuff that I found difficult then, I now do without even thinking about it very much. And those who are watching my videos on a week-by-week, day-by-day basis will know that my skills are improving every single day. Every day I learn something new, and it goes in the video. So I had thought for a moment there that the rain was easing off. The forecast suggested that early afternoon the rain might be possibly raining, possibly not. Whereas this morning it was like, you're going to get wet, which is why I elected to come in the van. But we'll see what happens. I haven't yet given up all hope of the rain stopping and being able to get the drone up for a few minutes, at least. Hopefully when I get to Tarn, which is where we're heading for now. You'll remember that I allowed myself one opportunity this week to go through Coniston. Today is the day, as I thought it might be. There's no reason really to be hanging around, so I'm just going to go through Coniston and get down to Tarn, do a bit of filming there, hopefully with the drone, and then head into Ambleside to go to work at 3 o'clock. So thanks to all my new subscribers, the channel is growing, which I'm very happy about, and thank you for joining the channel. As I always say, there is a lot more yet to come, much more. Every time at the moment that I make a new film, I think of another one that I want to make, which is good. So what I've done just now is I've put the GoPro on the front of the van, and that will hopefully illustrate the fact that it's absolutely pissing down. So I have a topic for conversation on my mind at the moment. I've been thinking about it for some while now, and I have pretty much formulated my thinking on it. And the topic for conversation is this: does being a motorcyclist make you a better car, or in this case, van driver? Well, it seems to me that this is self-evident, and I'll tell you why I think that. So you will know that if you've been riding a motorcycle for several months, a year, any length of time that's significant, your mind adjusts to being a motorcyclist. This holds true for any pursuit that we might pursue with any kind of passion or deep interest. And so it's not just about motorcycling, but for today what I want to talk about are the ways in which being a motorcyclist can, and generally does, make you a far better and far safer and much more aware driver of a larger vehicle. So having mastered to a lesser or greater degree the art of riding a motorcycle, you will have become accustomed to noticing things that you wouldn't necessarily notice were you not a motorcyclist. By which I mean, for example, the fact that when you're riding competently, anything that moves immediately gets noticed and becomes a threat, or a potential threat, a hazard, or a potential hazard. If it moves, it might hurt you. It's as simple as that. Now, because of the way that our brains work, it seems to me, that never goes away. And the way that you have trained yourself or been trained to do anything is, in fact, the way that you will respond in any given situation. This was put very succinctly, I believe, by Oliver Wendell Holmes, who said that any mind stretched to a new idea will never return to its previous form. And that seems to me to be axiomatic. It is self-evidently true. And so I find that when I'm driving, I am just as aware, just as alert, and feeling every bit as vulnerable as when I'm riding a motorcycle. This is what I find anyway. Let me know what you think. Do you, when you're driving a car, being a motorcyclist, see any difference? Are you less attentive in a car? Do you get more relaxed? Well, I can only speak for myself, but I certainly don't. And in fact, in many ways, I find the driving of this particular vehicle, and it's not just because it's got a complete lack of power when you go up the slightest hill. I drive in exactly the same way that I ride a motorcycle. It'll be interesting to know what people think about that. Stop recording. We are the mighty Guru Yogurt. And it's pissing down. So this is Tarn, a really charming place, nestling under the hills here. Very atmospheric today with the mist drifting across the pool. This is in fact a private trout fishery, fly fishing only. If you have a little walk down the lay-by here, there's a little path going down some steps which leads around this side of the lake. And on a sunny day, after a couple of hours riding, I like to come and sit just on the other side of the bank there. There's a lovely little wooded area to sit and think in. The path normally goes along there. There has been an enormous amount of rainfall in the last 12-15 hours, and so you can't get through that way today. But that's okay. So it's approaching 2:30 now, and it's time for me to head into Ambleside and go and do some work for wages. Well, being self-employed, I actually charge a fee, but it's the same thing. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope I've given you something to think about, and do let me know what you think about the question I raised in the comments below. See you next time.